Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. In this one, we're going to be stopping all of this laborious hand watering, and we're going to go ahead and install an irrigation system. This isn't really a tutorial, but I'm going to walk through it like it's a tutorial and just show you how I did it. There are plenty of videos out there that show you the best way to do it, but I'm just going to show you how I did it. So just to go over the short list of things that we got a whole bunch of these inline valves, 3/4 inch for our tubing. We have a timer and we have some wiring. You want to make sure that wherever your timer is going to be at, plugged into the wall, that your wiring will be able to run from the timer itself to your location like we have over here. I have a whole bunch of different fittings. These male slip-on 3/4 inch adapters are for the inline valves, both sides, and I'll show you guys that in a second. We have a whole bunch of T's and we have a whole bunch of elbows. The elbows and the T's are going to help us to actually build our little manifold where we'll have all these valves kind of in line with each other so that it makes it easier to service. Next, we have the Rainbird waterproof wire connectors. So there's 10 in here, and I think we have 8 connections in total to make, so that'll be nice. We have the primer for the PVC, and we also have the cement for the PVC. We also have the PVC tape, so I'm going to apply some of this onto the threads before I actually put them into the inline valves. And then as for tools, we have a little ratcheting PVC pipe cutter, we have a shovel, we have our wheelbarrow. That's just going to be for when I prep this area, so I'm going to start moving some of these containers, and then we'll go ahead and cut out this old piping, and then we'll kind of just make a square and get all this stuff in, and I'll update you as we go. I think it's important to remember that with a project like this, it's going to be up to, number one, your creative ambition of how you're going to run all these different lines around your yard, and so that they're not in the way, especially if you're going to be running it to a greenhouse or a sprinkler system or raised beds. You're going to have to really take the time to come up with a game plan. Number one, so that you stay within budget and that you don't overspend on a lot of things that you really don't need. And number two, the things that you do spend the money on, you actually know that they're going to be effective. So for what I did in this video, I probably spent about $250 to $300. That's with the timer included. This price point doesn't take into consideration all the other elements of the PVC pipe, the couplings, some of the sprinkler heads that I've already had in the yard for the past couple years. This is just for the materials that I used in this video. And if you ask me, I definitely think $250 is worth it in terms of the longevity of the system. It's going to last a lot longer. It's going to be very hands-off, which is going to allow us to actually do a lot more gardening and not really have to go around and water plants by hand, which is just, it was taking me forever. So having this system in place, in my opinion, is definitely well worth the money. All right, so now I have a little bit more of the piping exposed. You can see my interesting little design, but this is for the sprinklers. This one goes to the back fence and waters all these citrus trees, well, fruit trees, and all the plants and the raised bed. And this one is the main supply, which I will just put a T on and then have another pipe following this guy. And that will be responsible for watering everything inside the greenhouse. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started with taking this all down. If there's anything I can recommend, it would be to definitely buy a PVC cutter like this. It helps save time and save the energy of cutting these pipes, and you cut them straight. You don't really cut them at weird angles if you're using a saw blade. One thing I forgot to mention on the parts list is this check valve. You want this on your main supply that goes back to your house. And what this guy does is it prevents any of the water that's going out to your grass or your raised beds or anything from becoming a contaminant that follows back through the pipe and goes into your house's water system. That water could eventually get to the sink or to the shower or anywhere else within the house. So by using a check valve, this guy pretty much prevents water from going the opposite direction. And on this guy, there's an arrow right here. So the flow, you look at it, the arrows point to the right, and since we need the water to come this direction, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on just like this, and that will prevent any contaminants from going into the house's water system. All right, so this is my masterpiece that I made. So I just have those 3 inline valves. So this is the supply line to all 3 of them. And then again, I made sure that the flow on all these is going out. And like I said, this will probably be grass area, garden, and then, or like back fence with a raised bed, and then the greenhouse. So I have my 3 systems set up, and then I'll go ahead and connect this to the main supply line. And then we'll work on some wiring and go from there. All right, I want to give you guys an update. I've been overthinking, I've been underthinking. So everything is in line now and connected. We have some final connections to make, but I will put some of these pieces where they're supposed to be once I test the valves and make sure that we're not leaking all around here. I don't want to do a final glue up until I make sure that all this is sealed and there's no leaks, because once I start gluing some of these final pieces, it's gonna be super difficult to readjust without making some weird cuts. I mean, as you can see, I've already made some weird cuts, but we have this pipe right here, which is going just above where the other pipe is. This pipe is for the back fence, like I said, and the raised bed. This one though, I'm gonna have coming over to this post. And on this post, we're actually gonna attach one of those reel, garden reels, so that I can just water plants or whatever I need to, whenever I need to, I guess. So that's why I have that pipe. So that was a late addition. But now we're gonna work on getting the wiring and the timer set up. All right, so this is the outlet that I'm gonna utilize. That'll take everything back out to the garden. And this is where we'll probably put our indoor timer. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these screws, secure it right here, and then I'll figure out a way to get the wiring to either go up the wall and across under this awning back towards the water system. Okay, I got the wiring going through the PVC all the way, follows the awning, and then it comes all the way over here where it actually comes down, goes down, and that's where the wire is. So now I'll go ahead and try to figure out how to wire all these guys up, and I'll take you along with me. All right, so we're back at the timer. I went ahead and stripped off the wire ends so that we can go ahead and plug this in. So you can see we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and COM, which is just common. You also got a pump. We're not really concerned with pump. We won't be running the pump. So for our common wire, we're gonna go ahead and use the white. So I have this little screwdriver. I'm gonna undo that. And then the rest of these, I'll just plug in according to where they're at right now. So blue will go to number 4, green will go 3, yellow will go 2, and red will go 1. And those will be all of our stations. And then we'll go ahead and remember those numbers when we actually go and hook up the valves. All right, I'm back at the valves, getting the wiring started. What I'm doing first is just attaching one side from each valve to a color. You can try to, it's gonna get confusing, so just try to remember which station you want and what that station's responsible for, and then that color that's for that station. But what I'm doing is I'm just stripping the colored wire, putting it next to one of the black and white wires off the valve. Doesn't matter which side you use, you only need one wire. It doesn't matter if you use the one on the right or the one on the left. Just pick a wire, and then I'm gonna try to hold my phone with my knees really quick and then show you this little twisty. So we have this little twisty. It is waterproof, so you just wanna get these guys kind of aligned. And then once they're aligned, push them both in, and then just twist. Make sure it gets on there. And then once the cables start to intertwine around each other, like that, that's when you know you got a good twist on there. So we're good right there. And those are that's what I'm doing. That's just one connection. So I'll finish up the last one, and then it's almost time to get it started, get tested. All right, so on the phone, we have our different zones. I'm gonna go over here to lawn. I'm gonna go to test. And then I'm just gonna set this for a minute, and you'll see once we hit green, And there we go. So everything's working, and then I'll just hit stop and it turns it off. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned.